The city's facing tonight in Portland for Game 5. Thunder stars Russell Westbrook and Paul George being outscored by Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum in this series by 7 points per game. The duo is shooting just 37% from the field. Russ is just 14 of 49 from outside 10 feet, according to Second Spectrum. That's 29%. George, he hasn't been any better while his shoulder's not healthy. He's getting his points, nearly 27 per, but he's shooting just 37% from the field, 33% from outside 10 feet for the series. Royce Young on what a third straight first-round exit would mean for Russ and the franchise.
The Thunder are, once again, on the brink of a first-round playoff exit. But this time, there's a new level of shock. This year was supposed to be different. This matchup was favorable. This team was better equipped. But like the last two first-round outs, the series has served as a harsh evaluation of the team, and specifically Russell Westbrook. The Blazers are openly daring him to shoot and testing his will to resist. It's a game plan that pits Westbrook against his toughest enemy, himself.
Westbrook, air ball. Another big miss by Westbrook when they needed one.
It's not necessarily that Westbrook wants to win on his own terms, but his bulldozer approach, without a reliable jump shot to lean on, isn't holding up in the postseason.
Sometimes you have nights like that. That happens sometimes, but just wasn't good enough for us to get the win. So.
Another first-round exit in Game 5 would make the Thunder 4-12 in the postseason since Kevin Durant left. And for a team with the second highest payroll in the NBA, they would enter the offseason with more questions than answers. And for Russell Westbrook, the next question would be a hard one. What now? In Portland, I'm Royce Young, ESPN.
Royce, thank you so much. Another game tonight. Nets, Sixers, Joel Embiid coming off that 31-16, 7-assist performance. Also had 6 blocks in 32 minutes. Game 4 Saturday. Dave McMenamin joining us from Philly with more on Game 5 as the Sixers potentially could wrap things up. It's the question that has dominated every game in this series. What's the status of Joel Embiid tonight?
Well, Kevin, an incremental gain in the status department for Joel Embiid. He's been upgraded to probable tonight, but of course, the cat and mouse game between the media and Sixers coach Brett Brown continued. We asked him about it before the game. He said, you guys know the answer. Game time decision. The way Embiid talked about Game 5, we certainly expect him to be on the court tonight, coming off that dominant performance. Brett Brown added, though, one thing he certainly is concerned about is the flagrant foul situation that Joel Embiid finds himself coming into tonight. Already 2 flagrant foul points. If he gets 2 more points, that means a suspension. The Sixers want to stay on the straight and narrow, win the game, and not jeopardize Joel Embiid's status in the second round.
All right, the place is going to be rocking. Embiid averaging 25 points per game and shooting 51% from the floor in the series. Last time a Sixers player did that in the best of 7, Charles Barkley in 1991 against MJ's Bulls. Dave McMenamin from Philly.
It's just that he gives me no answer. I just decided that I was going to keep asking just to let him know that he doesn't get to control the media policies. I had no aspirations that I was going to change him or anything, but I just wanted to send the message that, hey, we're still going to be here asking questions no matter what you guys might do. Somebody last night at the game told me this would never happen if David Stern was still the commissioner. He would not have let it gotten this far. The theory is that Adam Silver is too soft on the players. He lets the players sort of carte blanche, do whatever they want. David Stern would have nipped this in the bud.
Barry Trammell, once again, a veteran, well-respected reporter. And, Richard, it's worth noting that Warriors coach Steve Kerr came out and said that what Russ is doing is, quote, dangerous to the league. How much of a problem do you have with the way he handles the media?
Well, I think first of all, let's talk about Steve Kerr, right? Now, I Arizona guy, that's my guy. But when you look at, how maybe his team handles the media at times, they're not the most media friendly, like when you look at the entire team. But I don't really like what Barry said. He's like, oh, well, we're still going to be here. He can't control the media. That's not true, because so many times we always talk to players and say, well, you don't have to do these interviews. You don't have to answer these questions. So, look, if he doesn't want to answer these questions, like when you really listen to the undertones, and I'm not saying that Trammell is not a great reporter and he's not well respected, but if you really want to listen to what Russell wants to say or doesn't want to say, that's his choice. If he wants to give short answers or don't want to answer questions about a situation or from a reporter, that's his prerogative. And then you want to blame Adam Silver, or you want to say that the former commissioner wouldn't have allowed this. I think you're looking for blame at other people's why someone just doesn't want to talk to you particularly.
It does sound somewhat personal between Trammell and Westbrook. And again, Trammell's been there for a very long time, as has Russ. I have a feeling that that is not over. Meantime, though, Richard, thank you. Unique perspective on that topic. As always, thank you for joining us. In the meantime, you enjoy the games. And how about this game tonight again? In the last two postseasons, keep this in mind. Russ has tried everything in his power to keep the Thunder alive when they've been on the brink. He scored at least 45 points, grabbed 10 boards in each of his last 3 playoff games facing elimination. But Oklahoma City has won just one of those games and lost both series. In the East, we know the Celtics and Bucks are going to square off in the second round. Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon will join us to answer a tough question. Who's more important to their team, Giannis or Kyrie? That's coming up.
Sage, just over a week after Luke Walton got a new head coaching job, he faces serious allegations in a sexual assault lawsuit. Our insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, has the very...
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's ridiculous, people. He's giving you everything he could possibly give.
And here comes Giannis. The Bucks and their march as the #1 team continues.
Well, we'll get the 1-4 matchup a lot of people were looking for in the East. The Greek Freak and Kyrie, Milwaukee and Boston. Giannis coming off of 41 points in 32 minutes in the clincher last night against Detroit. The fewest minutes for a 40-point game in NBA playoff history. As for Kyrie, he led the Celtics, averaging over 22 points per game in their sweep over the Pacers. It marks Boston's first 4-game winning streak in 2.5 months. So, thing is, we don't know when the series will begin yet, but when the long layovers end, the Bucks are the clear favorite over the Celtics in this second round matchup. Westgate has Milwaukee at -300, so you'll have to bet $300 just to win 100. Back to Kyrie and Giannis. Listen to this from PTI. Kornheiser and Wilbon, take it away.
Hi, Wilbon. Who is more important to their team, Kyrie Irving or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Giannis, and this isn't close. As great as Kyrie Irving is, he is great. He's already wearing a championship ring. Giannis hopes to get one. We have seen the Boston Celtics play successfully over a long stretch without Kyrie Irving, over the most important stretch of the season, which is the postseason. They had LeBron James on the ropes and defeated last year without Kyrie Irving. Milwaukee can't do that without Antetokounmpo. And I like some of the parts, some of the ensemble pieces. Glad Malcolm Brogdon, presumably, is coming back soon. They need him. But Antetokounmpo, Tony, Milwaukee is close to a lottery team without Antetokounmpo.
So it's going to sound like I'm disagreeing with you because I'm going to take the other side, but I don't necessarily disagree. Okay. I think Antetokounmpo plays closer to his best more often than Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
So I don't know how much he can improve the Bucks from where they are. I think that Kyrie Irving is the wild card in this sense, and I want to be very clear about this. Having that ring means something. We talked today on our show about Bryce Harper and Jake Arrieta, and you made the point that Arrieta has a World Series ring. Kyrie Irving was a star in a Game 7 in a decisive game. So he's got something in him that we haven't seen from the other guy just
Not yet. Haven't seen it yet.
So my feeling would be if Kyrie Irving plays to the top of the ladder that he's got, that has more of an effect on his team than whatever the Greek Freak can do.
Really quickly, if you were starting...
Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't really disagree with that, because the value of a ring shouldn't be underestimated. Real quickly, though, if you were starting a team, you're going to build a team today, would you take Kyrie first or Antetokounmpo first?
I'm partial to guards, but I think I would take Antetokounmpo first. I do.
I think we'd be in agreement again. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Coach of the Sacramento Kings, Luke Walton is being sued for sexual assault by a former sports reporter. Kelly Tennant contends that Walton assaulted her in a hotel room in Santa Monica in 2016 when he was still an assistant coach with the Warriors. Tennant, who was a TV host in L.A. at the time of the alleged assault, said in her lawsuit that she met Walton at the Casa del Mar Hotel to drop off a copy of her book for which he wrote the foreword. Walton then allegedly invited Tennant to his room so they would not be seen together by any Warriors players. That's when she says he pinned her to the bed, forcibly kissing and groping her, using his full body weight to keep her on the bed, and laughed when she yelled, "Stop." The lawsuit also alleges that Walton continued to harass her after he became the coach of the Lakers while she was covering the team, including in May of 2017 when she says he, quote, forced an aggressive hug, end quote, and made an offensive remark about Tennant's outfit at a charity event. Walton's attorney calls the allegations baseless and calls Tennant, quote, an opportunist, not a victim, and her claim is not credible, end quote. Our insider Adrian Wojnarowski joins me now here on SportsCenter. And Woj, the timeline for these allegations involve three different teams, the Warriors, the Lakers, and now the Kings. How is the league handling this?
Sage, I spoke with the league office tonight. They're in contact with the Sacramento Kings, and they're going to start to gather more information in this. And our Dave McMenamin reports that the court filing, this is a civil suit, is in the process of being filed in LA's Superior Court.
Okay, I know you'll keep us up to date on that developing story. Meantime, back to the team Walton used to coach, the Lakers, and there are a couple of developments in their search for his replacement. McMenamin also reported that the Lakers interviewed former Bucks and Nets coach Jason Kidd yesterday in LA, and they're scheduled to interview Heat assistant Juwan Howard today. Meantime, late last night, the Suns fired head coach Igor Kokoshkov after just the one season. So, Woj, how does this move impact the Lakers' search?
Well, part of the timing in Phoenix of firing Kokoshkov was to pursue Monty Williams, the top assistant in Philadelphia. He's already interviewed once with the Lakers. They're in the process of setting up a second interview back east, perhaps as soon as this week. And he is at the top of the Suns list. I was told today that the Suns got permission from the Sixers to interview him. And now Monty Williams, I think his goal, I'm told, is to meet with both ownership groups, with both teams, and start to use that as a barometer of what might make sense for him.
Monty Williams, a longtime assistant with the Thunder, with the Spurs, certainly one of the more respected people in the NBA. That is our insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Thank you.
Still to come on this edition of SportsCenter. With the Thunder on the brink of elimination, who is Russell Westbrook's toughest enemy tonight in Portland? Plus, is Joel Embiid ready to go again tonight? The latest on the Sixers star big man as Philly tries to close out on the Nets in Game 5.
Fun fact for you, Salt Lake City used to be known as Great Salt Lake City. The great part was dropped exactly in the late 1860s. Should it be added back again? Make that a half-hour headline.
I second that.
After last night?
Motion passes. Yeah, because at least for on night, Salt Lake City was great. And it's because Donovan Mitchell was great as well. Mitchell had by far his best game of this series, taking Game 4 at home to make it a 3-1 series. Mitchell, 31 points, 19 of them in the fourth quarter alone, where he outscored the Rockets by himself. The last player to do that in a postseason quarter was Donovan Mitchell against the Rockets. It was last season. Hey, when you're streaky, like the Rockets are, it cuts both ways. Houston was on the wrong end in Game 4. Rockets 0 for 13 from 3 in the fourth quarter alone. The second most attempts without a make in the last 20 postseasons. Only last year's Rockets were worse, going 0 for 27 in that streak in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
The Pistons do not share the same, at least immediate fate as the Jazz. Their next game is next season. Bucks in 4 by a wide margin. And here's a fun fact for the Bucks. The last time Milwaukee won a playoff series, their star, Giannis, was 7, as in years of age, and it was 2001. Game 4 facts, Giannis had a playoff career high, 41. So now it's Bucks Celtics. Game 1 still TBD. Giannis averaged 31 points and 11 rebounds during the regular season against Boston. Bucks also won that series, in part because of points in the paint. Now, the Celtics had a slight edge in, beyond the arc shooting, but that edge goes away completely with the Giannis factor because the Bucks outscored Boston by more than 15 in the paint. Wait, why? We're talking about the Suns?
We are.
Why? The Suns are. Why? Oh, because they were so bad. Their coach is art. Igor Kokoshkov. 1 year and a franchise-worst 17-game losing streak. Just 19 total wins. First team in the shot clock era to score fewer than 10 points in the first quarter in consecutive games. They're now looking for their 5th different head coach.
AB Shark.
I've been waiting for this all year.
We gotta come out with energy.
Tatum on the move. Tatum! Step back, wide open. Boston has the lead. Middleton for the tie. Oh my goodness! We have to attack.
He's balling. Terry Rozier's gotten off to a strong start to this series.
Who?
Terry Rozier.
I don't even know.
It is.
The team's been writing us off all year, and we just keep proving people wrong.
Brown to the basket.
Make it work for every basket.
Rejected into the third row. Brogdon with the left. Tipped up and in. Giannis. Wow.
There's going to be ups and downs.
Antetokounmpo. Oh, he caught a body.
And we have a Game 7. Listen to this crowd here. Who is Bledsoe?
Continue not to expect it, but to take it. Take the game.
Smart takes it away from Middleton. Marcus Smart looking up for Horford. The finish.
Oh, my goodness. Scary Terry rises up in the fourth.
Boston wins it in 7.
All right, the rematch is forthcoming. Get Up is coming up.
He's here.
Top of the hour. We don't have to wave through the magic of satellite, but Jalen Rose is here, and we're talking Bucks and Celtics, and it's a rematch of last year's first-round matchup. And we told you in half-hour headlines, Giannis, the only second player to average 30 and 10 against the Celtics, and he's done a couple of times, so the sample size is big. How does Boston game plan for him now in the semis?
You do know I'm a Detroit native, right?
Yeah.
And I was actually one of the 5 people watching them sweep my Detroit Pistons, and I was not happy about it. Giannis is virtually unstoppable. What you hope to do is make that guy work defensively. See if Al Horford, see if Bain, see if Morris can make him work defensively. Try to get him in foul trouble. On the offensive side, you want to keep him perimeter oriented. You know once he gets towards the basket, his layups and dunks are virtually mind-blowing the way he's been finishing this year. But you try to keep him on the perimeter, hope you live with the percentages, but he's been terrific all year.
What he did with Drummond last night, where he went for the dunk and then decided for the layup instead, was just ridiculous.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Thunder. Oh, the Thunder. You've got Paul George, who has the boo-boo in his shoulder, and then can we just say that Russell Westbrook's shot is a bit of a boo-boo at the moment? That offense has just been hurting big time. So what can they do, like now, before they get eliminated tonight?
If you're OKC, you got to flat out play with pride. You have 2 All-NBA performers in Russell Westbrook and Paul George. Dame Lillard has been amazing, shooting with range in particular beyond 26 feet. He's made 14 threes, which has been outstanding. But can Paul George have an MVP-like performance in this series? We know his shoulder is bothering him, as you just mentioned. However, this is when his team needs him the most. You got to give the Blazers a lot of credit. They were swept out of the playoffs 2 consecutive seasons. And they lost 4 times in the regular season to this OKC squad. So for them to be up is really amazing.
Let's also not forget, though, that the Thunder, if they get eliminated tonight, this would be their 3rd early exit in 3 straight years. They also haven't topped 100 points in any of their losses yet. Okay, so that game tonight in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, Jalen, top of the hour on Got Up. Yeah, we wave.